fly in a V shape. Now you must say that because it is difficult to fly in the sky, it's not like that. When they are flying in a V-shaped pattern, the first bird here is actually cutting the air. Now when it is cutting the air, that drag is being reduced, or the wind resistance is reduced. As a result, the birds which are following them would have to use lesser energy to flow. So a very good team spirit. Not just this, the birds actually know that this bird gets tired, so they automatically change their positions. So the last one would come here and this one would go to the last, because the first one would have to flap at a faster pace, the one which would have to cut the air resistance at the highest pace, because let's say there is a cyclonic wind or a huge wind blowing. So this bird would have to do the highest work to cut the air, and then the remaining birds would have to do relatively lesser work, right? So just to make the things easier, they have a very good team spirit. They work in teams, and the first one moves, they jumble in the air itself. You might see sometime that birds are going in a V-shaped pattern. All of a sudden it appears that they are dancing or something. They just rearrange themselves, and then again a nice V formation takes place. The second important benefit of this V-shaped formation is that it helps the bird to communicate. They easily communicate with one another. So they actually help in coordination and communication as well. And that's one of the reasons that birds fly in V shape. Now let's talk about some of the interesting questions. So here we have 4 birds. The question says, removing the first 2 letters of the name gives me arrow. So which bird can it be? Right. What could be the 2 words? SP. So you have sparrow. Now what you have to do is identify. So this is sparrow. The next one is pigeon. Then you have woodpecker, and finally eagle. So the names of the birds here would be sparrow, pigeon, woodpecker, or I can say this is hummingbird, right? Better, it is hummingbird. Why I am saying it's hummingbird? Because you can look at its beak. Its beak is long and pointed for sucking the nectar. And this is eagle. Now if you remember the first slide that we discussed, where we introduced to you the various types of bird. The next is, what would happen if all of the toes of woodpecker are in the same direction? Now what does woodpecker do? Woodpecker uses its toes to dig the tree. Okay, so when it is trying to dig the tree or scratch the tree, this is what it would be using it. So dig out the wood from the tree, and then create a space. So it would not be able to climb up and hold on to the trunk. It would not be able to make nest. So it would not be able to oar in water. So it's not related to water, not about creating nest. It would not be able to scratch the ground for worms. So it's not about ground. It's mainly about the trees. So woodpecker is on the trees, lives on the trees. So it won't be able to hold the trees and climb the trees. And that's why you have 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And that's the classic characteristic for woodpecker and parrots, because they are called as climbing birds. We already discussed, right? So if you want, I can just simply go back. Okay, so here we discuss the various types of birds, the feet of the various types of bird and their importance. So scratching and then swimming is also called as paddling. I forgot to mention that. Okay, and then that is for climbing purpose, right? So we have woodpeckers which climb the tree. I hope that's clear. Okay, coming back to the next question. The process by which the birds keep their eggs warm by sitting on them, we already discussed, this is called as hatching. Now let me talk about other terms. Molting is removing the feathers before growing into the new ones. Incubation is the period in which the egg formation takes place. So it's the incubation. And metamorphosis is changing from one form to another, and it's a complete transformation. So larva to pupa, a complete transformation. So that's what is a kind of stage where we say metamorphosis takes place.